So we're here today with George Zalucki, an icon in the industry, and we're really fortunate to be able to ask him some questions here today. So to start off, George, what is the real potential of this business?
Well, I tell a story, and I think it kind of conveys the power and potential of it without misrepresenting it. And one of the things that concerns me is that if a person comes and gets excited or thinks they want to do this, too many people go out and then test market. And what that does is they're saying the other person's opinion, if they like it, it reinforces their opinion. That's the wrong direction. I like to have people say, do you understand the potential of what you're getting involved with here? And I want that to be the first place. And how I do that is I simply say, imagine that you're a person who says, wow, I wish I had more money for my family, for things I wanted to do, the dreams, and you don't have it. You're locked into a job, it's predictable where you're going, and you kind of feel lost. And one night you're taking a walk out in the field, and you look way off in the distance, and you see a big cave, but it's lit, it's bright, it's really bright, and it's getting dark. And so you say, what's that? So you start walking toward it. As you get inside, you see this incredible glow coming out of a big hole in the ground. And you walk over to the edge of the hole and you look down, and there's all kinds of gold coins and everything down there. And a genie appears to you and says, would you like to get some of that? And you say, are you kidding? And you look around the wall and there's shovels, thousands of shovels leaning against the wall. So you go and grab one and start going down, and the genie goes, just a minute. You've been doing that all your life. How's it been going so far? Just using your own effort to make your income. This is different. So you say, what do you mean? Say, how many friends do you have that if they saw this, what you're seeing, if they saw this, would like to join you? Oh, probably. I got a lot of friends that are, would like to have more money. Well, that's the concept here. Now, supposing those friends get excited, those would be called your first level. Those people get excited and they think they're going to just sit there and say, I'm keeping this to myself. They're going to understand and say, let me go get some people. That's your second level. Now picture the second level going to the third and the third. Can you see the geometry of explosion that can take place if this thing is working for you and you're working it and you're giving it enough time to mature? And that's critical, enough time to mature. And then you're understanding the compounding effect, like a recording artist goes in and makes a great song. After the preparation, maybe for months or years, and the orchestration, they go in and they cut the record, and then it goes to market. Every time that record plays or is sold, their cash register rings. It's the same concept called residual income, doing it and having a benefit from others joining you, and they have the exact same opportunity that you have to build their network. That's what I like them to understand inside, then go out and talk to people about joining your business.
So what you're saying is that first, in order to be successful, you need to believe in yourself and have a basic belief in the industry. Is that correct?
Well, it is correct. I think it's the best advantage. I mean, not everybody's going to go there. Okay, some people just like to wing it, and it's difficult to get people to do consistently the right things. So it's a concept that a lot of people would say, that makes sense to me. I could tell that story. I could say, always use third party. I met a guy who was very, very successful that told me this story. I thought I'd tell it to you. Don't make it your story. Always make it a third-party story. Someone of accomplishment told you this story, and boy, you wanted to share it with your friend.
So you are using the concept of the power of the third? Now, why would a person use that?
Well, think about it. Let's say you and I are friends and we work in the factory together, whatever we're doing. Well, you have an opinion of me, and I have an opinion of you. If all of a sudden I come with this great idea, like it's coming from me, you have a history of knowing me not as someone who relates well to making a lot of money, but as just another joker like yourself or what have you. So if I say a very successful man introduced me to a concept and I got excited and I'd like to share it with you, that's different, because now you're bringing in authority that, oh, well, maybe. People respond to third-party endorsements. It gets away from this.
How would you conduct yourself in a one-on-one situation?
Well, different people are going to do different things. What you have to recognize is who are you going to be meeting with? And you have to kind of profile that person, because even your appearance when you go to meet with them, you don't want to overdress if this is someone who's not accustomed to going to work every day in a suit or a tie. So you kind of graduate your appearance, always neat and clean and well kept, but you have to kind of analyze, okay, gee, I'm going to do a one-on-one for one of my friends and he's got this doctor or he's got this friend. I might have to step it up. Okay, so the first thing is appearance. Come clean, shaven, clean, sharp looking, casual, but clean. That's the first thing. And then you have to let the person know that you appreciate the time they're taking to be with you. Okay? They like that. That's a soft kind of a thing. So I think the first thing is I really appreciate you taking the time to hear about this today. Okay? And I want you to know something very important. You're in charge. I'm not in charge here, so you will get no pressure from me. All right? I'm here to explain the opportunity to you, and then you are in charge. How does that feel to you? Good. So now you set the stage that you're not going to be pushing that person. You're going to be providing information. Now, at some point, you might say, if it's a third-party person, and you're going to do a lot of those as you build an organization, you might say, you know, John or Mary, tell me more about you. Tell me your family, and then listen closely, because you will be able to pick up on whether they're family-oriented. Then I have a question, usually a question about, and what are you doing now to support your family? What kind of work do you do? And then whatever they tell you, say this, well, that sounds exciting. And then listen, they might say, no, it's not very exciting. Is that a clue that you have someone that might be more inclined to listen to an opportunity, you know? And so you go from there and you say, what do you like best about your job or career? Listen closely, because you're going to be looking for ways we might match up to that. Okay? Is there anything that you really don't like about your job? Listen closely, because they may say something like, I don't like to be pushed around. I'm an independent person. Well, now you know that how you lead that person is going to be different than someone who needs strong leadership. So what you're doing basically is getting a sense of who's across from you. Now, once you explain the opportunity and you say, listen, can you see, this would be a good close in my opinion. Can you see yourself successful at some level in this opportunity? Because let me tell you something. There are basically three reasons why people join this type of business. One, and this is most people, they start out with, you know what, I need a little supplemental income. You know, my wife needs a car, or, you know, something, I want to buy something for the house. I want to move from my neighborhood. Those people come in on a spare time basis. They're just working it in spare time, and they build over time, let's say an income of 300 or 400 or 500 euro a month, just going along and building. Okay, that's most people who are going to join start that way. The second one is somebody who's really frustrated in their work, and they're looking for a way maybe to be able to get out of that rat race in the car every day, driving back and forth, always having someone over their shoulders, and they have become aware that it's kind of a lockdown economically, that there is another way to generate income. That person comes in with a little higher motivation and will have a little more participation because they're looking to replace something over time. So that's the second person. The third person that comes in looks at it and says, you know what? I can really do this. I have a lot of friends that listen to me. They're a center of influence. They're the kind of person that they have the reputation, they have the standing, and they can start right out. They might be the person that says, sign me up, get out of my way, I'm going to do this. So there are three types. Now, you can graduate through each of these to get to the third person, but it should be over time where you build a good solid income before you decide to throw anything else away. So those are the three ways they come in. Now, I ask the person, I say, now, let's say that you and I work together as a team. This is an important conveyance here. You and I working together as a team. Okay, we'll have some training together. We'll make you comfortable with the information. We got great training, so relax about what you know now is not important. I'm your coach. I'm going to be a resource for you. We're going to work together. Let's say that what would be important for you to get right now if you had an extra 500 euro a month coming in? What would you think you would do with that? You might hear, whatever you hear now, pay close attention. They might say, well, you know, my wife really needs a new car. Boy, you stop right there. And here's what you say. Wouldn't it be great, you and I working together as a team, in 6 months to a year, we have enough income that those monthly payments are nothing. We've got it covered, 500, 600 euro a month, and that car is in your driveway for your wife. Very important question now. How would that make you feel? What you've done here is very important in psychology. You have taken something they said they would like to have. You've demonstrated that you would be there to help them get to that, and then you gave them emotional possession by the experience of it's in the driveway. How would you feel? So we attached emotion, okay? Say, well, you know what I think we should do now? I think that we should get you registered, okay, with a company number so that your business can go off and running and everything we have is available to you. Did you notice I used the word registered? I didn't say sponsor. Sponsor, there's too many connotations with sponsor that it's not as soft as let's get you registered. And then any time that you get a pushback, what we call an objection, always use the feel, felt, found. I know how you feel. I had other people who felt like that. And here's what they found. Can I make a distinction for you? Always ask permission to make the distinction. Otherwise, you can become combative.
Can you give us an example of an objection where you have used the feel, felt, found technique?
Well, they might say, you know, I had a brother that got into something like this, a brother-in-law, you know, and you know, he bought a whole bunch of products and everything, and you know, he's now sitting in his garage. And I say, well, I think the first problem there might be they didn't belong in his garage. He was supposed to go out and sell them. But so, whatever the case may be, okay, there are people who have certain feelings about everything. All right, but when I find that it's something that I've dealt with, then you're going to have those situations. Then I know how you feel. I've had some other representatives feel just like you, and we made some distinctions and some further understandings, and here's what they found. So then you can offer the solution, a third-party solution.
Is there anything else you would like to add, speaking about the registration process?
Oh yes, what you should bring to every meeting is a printed schedule on a piece of paper that is the meetings, the trainings, and have a blank there where you can fill in, say, you and I, it's important for us to get together within the next 24 to 48 hours. What day or evening works best for you? Can we set that down? And you have a copy for yourself and a copy for that person. So it's Thursday night, yeah, I'm free after 6. Okay, let's get together and let's get started on the training, and any questions you might have, let's start working. We're going to get that car in the driveway, or we're going to get you on the map to success.
Now, George, how would you go about that first meeting, and what are some of the things that will be important for a brand new IBO?
I think the first thing is that you, as the sponsor, needs to understand how people maintain or lose interest. Okay, research demonstrates that motivation or excitement is an emotion. It cannot be constantly maintained. So you leave the person with hope and possibility, which is great. If you're not right back with that person, within 24 to 48 hours, that has dropped as low as 50% of when you left them. And here's why. Self-doubt kicks in. Undeserving kicks in. Do I really deserve to make big money? Because he'll never talk about money that's any more than 10% or 15% more than that person has ever earned. So you never want to say, for example, I have a friend who makes $10,000 or $15,000 a month, when this person has never made more than $3,000. Because that's what'll send them home saying it's unbelievable. And the first time they say that to another friend, they'll say, did you fall for that? So that's your fault if you overstate things. So stay away from that. Okay, so I think that's very important to understand. So I would say get together with them within 24 to 48 hours, and then you set the stage from there, assess again the level of interest, the reinforcement of what we're doing, and then get right back on it. So when you're working with someone who's building, it's pretty constant. I mean, there's just no let up. When you have a serious, interested person in your group, believe me, you're going to be excited to get with them because you're going to be meeting their prospects and they're their prospects, and now you're developing yourself as a leader. So that's the way I would do that. Follow up, follow up, follow up, follow up. Stay in touch with them.
Any additional thoughts on how often to have contact with your people?
Well, that's an evolutionary process that's predicated on the person's personality, their needs, their interests, their level of knowledge, and how they really feel about everything. Some people you need to nurture longer. You can see they're worth it. You know they're good people, but they're afraid. You know, nobody's ever taken real interest in them as an individual to say, let's do something together. I'm here to help you. Let's work together. So some people it's going to take more nurturing, and other people are going to kind of push you away. They'll say, I'll take it from here, or you will be hearing less of them, but you might be seeing more performance from them. That's a time to say, hey, great, call me anytime you need me. I'm here for you. And that's the way I would suggest.
Now, George, how did you get started in this business, and what have you seen since you got involved?
Well, we have kind of an interesting story. I was probably, as a profile, you know, being a professor and involved in the world of academia, I would probably have the biggest problem doing something like this because of our pedigree. You know, you're supposed to be so important and sophisticated when you're in education. But I know many educators that need more money, but then we have to get over our ego. And so it wasn't easy. I was invited 6 times before I went to my first network marketing meeting. And I only went because the gentleman who worked with me at the university, his wife was involved. And I went, and I didn't care about the products. The only reason I stayed is because I felt I was brought up with some sense of courtesy and don't walk out of a room when there's a speaker, okay? And then there was a little gentleman, a little French gentleman got up, and he was 72 years old, and he started at 69 years old, and he was making $10,000 a month in this business. And I thought, no, that's impossible. That's 3 times more than I'm making. You know, what is he doing? And I'll never forget the interaction I had with him after I asked him, you know, geez, how would a guy like me, who's only been a teacher and a coach, get into this? What do you call this thing? And he said, network marketing? I said, is that the thing that's making the $10,000? He said, yes. I said, tell me about that. And this is what he said to me. He said, big fellow, he was just a little short guy, and he had a French accent. He said, will you, for 1 year, no turn back effort, focus mind, 1 year. I don't care you do full time or you do spare time, you do same things. But 1 year, no look over your shoulder left, no look over your shoulder right, focus. Will you do that? And I answered like most people answer that type of question. I said, well, I think I could do that. He said, no, 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 I'll never forget this. You ask me the potential for $10,000? Yes. I ask you if you're willing 1 year, no turn back effort. Now the answer is yes, or the answer is no. Now big man, pick one. I said, for that type of a chance, I'll do it. Well, one thing I learned early in life, the only power you really have is the power of your word. If I said I was going to do it, there was nothing that was going to pull me off track. So he didn't even have to tell me to focus. But I knew from my background in psychology that the reason people are so average that they're just floaters. They just float. They never focus. They never form goals. So I had a goal to become successful, which meant whatever it takes, I'm staying in. I was a mess. I learned everything about the products. I thought I could teach bionutrition at the university. I was so good at selling the products. I had no idea about the power of residual income. I had to learn that. Then I started to build people and people's incomes. And then the thing started to evolve. When Artie and I got started together, I'll never forget it. We came over to Europe and we pioneered Europe, as most people know. And the funny thing is, Larry Raskin, one of the greatest guys you're ever going to meet, he's been with ACN forever, he tried to recruit Artie and I for 6 years. And we kept saying no, no, no. And there was Eloise who said, I think maybe it's time we take a serious look. So we did, and of course we met with the owners, and we fell in love with these guys, because if you've been in this industry for a while, you learn. If it's not right with integrity at the top, forget about it. No matter what they're promising, what they're saying, if those people are not moral and caring people, never sign up. But most people don't vet owners. We knew at this stage of the game, we've had some losses where we were doing great and the owners and the companies were not good. And then we were back down. So it was so important when we met the twins and Mike and Tony and Greg, and Robert. We said, wow, these guys are real. It's how many years later? They're still as real as the day we joined. Well, if I'm going to go and battle, I want to have some generals that I can believe in. So they have put their heart and soul into this, so therefore it was easy for Artie and I to get passionate about what we were doing. Now, I didn't expect everybody else to have those feelings. There's only so much of that you convey from yourself, but I knew it was there. And that was really fundamentally, I could go out and tell the world what a great company this is, okay, and feel perfectly fine with it because we experienced it. So as we got going, the thing you have to recognize here is you never know. And this is why you keep working in phase one. Greg says it all the time. Phase one is going out and introducing the opportunity. If I see something that's weak here, or most companies, once people reach a pin level where they think they've arrived, they become managers. They want to keep reading their downline reports to see who else is doing something, and they stop doing the fundamentals of the business, which is introducing new people. The best thing you can do is to walk into your meeting as a leader with your prospect, introducing your prospect to your downline, not the other way around. And so many people stop doing what took them to the dance. And then pretty soon they end up saying, well, this is not right or that's not right. But the new person that comes in today doesn't have any history. All they have is you, the opportunity, they like it or they don't. So don't bring your history of negativity or questions or experiences from the past into the present because it's irrelevant. It's only in your head.
You realized that you had to build people. What are the fundamentals of building people?
Well, I've devoted my life to it. Okay, I've done an awful lot of counseling over the years. I've worked in the criminal justice system. I've been in the classroom. I've been passionate about seeing why so many people don't make what they really would like to have in their lives. It's massive that it's such a small percentage really do something special with their lives. And what I saw was the human potential going to waste. It's the number one resource that we waste on the planet is human potential. And so when I say building people, it's something I go after. I want to know what's stopping you. And I'm good at discovering that because I've researched it and I worked it. I want to know how you think because your thinking is creating your reality. I want to know how your thoughts create your emotions and those two create your behavior and those three create the life you have called your circumstances. If you can teach people, it's not being taught to them. Believe me, they're not getting it anywhere. That's why they're so thirsty for it. They want to know, wait a minute, inside there, it makes sense. Even though they may have never heard it before, there's a resonance at an inner level that says, you know what? Somehow this makes sense. I have been thinking this way, and this is the result I'm getting. I am negative, and geez, my life is negative. Oh, I'm positive. My life is positive. Whoa, let's see how these connect. So building people to me is the joy of our business, is the opportunity beyond the money. That if you can take someone who is a good person, an honest person, but they just don't have the tools or the understanding or the education, and you can mentor them with the type of training that makes them feel better about themselves, feel more fulfilled as a human being, they're going to do a much better job than just throwing an opportunity at them and say, okay, go get them. So I'm a firm believer, as anybody who's ever heard me on stage, I just say it like it is. There's a reason you're winning and there's a reason you're losing, and I'm going to tell you how to change it. I'm going to suggest to you, but you're going to do it or not do it. I can't do it for you, but I can bring the information that if you implement it, you will see the changes I'm suggesting to you.
So you wrote a book, which I recommend to anyone who's interested in building the business. Are there any other resources that you would recommend?
No, I haven't. I never mentioned my book. If somebody brings it up to me to sign or something, I really don't pay attention to sales or anything with that, okay? But what people don't understand is what's in that book is a series of very brief chapters, but it's the life of how you build this business. It's going to cover attitude. It's going to cover the understanding of what are the distinctions between this type of business and so forth. It's going to talk about when you feel down, what do you do, how to handle objections. I mean, chapter after chapter after chapter is a class book, okay, a textbook for building the business. In fact, leaders could actually use that and say, next week we're going to study chapter 3. Which is attitude, okay? The next week we're going to handle objections. But it's not being used like that, and I don't sell it. I don't go out there and you'll never hear me lecture about my book. I have that. I have a whole series of personal development materials, Awesome Power of the Human Mind, Profile of a Champion, Emotions, Servants or Destroyers, okay? Experience to Make a Difference, which is a 6-hour personal development program. I don't know how many others I have. Oh, Realities Before Success and Network Marketing, okay? The American or the lockdown, economic lockdown, which talks about how we're stuck. I've got Emotions, Servants or Destroyers. I have a whole library, all right, of personal development CDs. And, and again, I don't push any of it. Anybody who knows me, they have to find it. I don't push it.
So George, are you saying people need to develop themselves to keep up to date with changes in the social and business landscape?
Yeah, and another thing people need to understand is the world's moving very, very fast. I mean, technology is replacing people left and right and center. In fact, some experts say that 90% of the jobs that are here today will not be here 10 years from now. Now, what age are you? What are you going to be doing 5 or 10 or 15 years from now that's going to prepare you to be employable? Or are you going to flatline and say, now what do I do? One thing you do know, new products and new services are always going to be in the marketplace. But big buildings and all of that, that's becoming sort of a dinosaur in the future. Everything's being done electronically or from home. More and more people are working from home. We're perfectly positioned in our industry. But if you expect every single thing to just keep going up, no business is like that because they're adaptations. Sometimes you have a product that's working well in the market and pretty soon the competition comes in, undercuts you. You don't have the money to pay what you want to pay to the field, and all of a sudden everybody says, oh, what happened? Well, what happened is get educated about how business works. It doesn't mean that it's going bad. It means we need to adjust. Well, all adjustments take some time. Smart people know that. So they don't get negative. They believe in what's going on. They believe in the ownership. They believe in the philosophy. And then here comes a hot product and everybody's excited. Why? Because it's easier to move and there's more volume coming in, which means there's more bonuses being paid out. So you're going to have some of this. But if you have some of this, but it's going like this, eventually you can have some of this, then it's back up, then you hit something good, and bing. You got to be around for that. You got to be around for that. And what I see happening now with the company hiring country managers and hiring the vice president of operations, to me, that's an indication to me, wow, there's going to be a great future here. We're just going to continue on going. I don't see those guys quitting. I see them passionate about moving forward and keeping the people and trying to do the best they can for those representatives out there. And you know what's happening? The weak ones are peeling off. Some of them go to companies that are brand new, okay? Boy, if they ever listen to me, be very careful. But then you find they're island hoppers. Then a year from now they leave that, then they go to something else, then they go to something. Pretty soon they wear themselves out. Okay, the people who win are the people who stay.